everyone. Welcome back to Absolute Comics, the weekly podcast that I get around with Sal and we sit down and chat. We're still in an era where we're not getting news like lickety-split and need to be here every Tuesday. We're still kind of cramming it into our Monday recordings. Today we're going to be talking about Wolverine, why we think that he's gone away, some news from Emerald City Comic Con, and Mark Ruffalo throwing shade at Marvel. Ooh, today's episode is brought to you by Into the AM. Check out these incredibly soft t-shirts that I wear almost every one of our shows now. Use the code absolutely at checkout or click the link down below. All right, so let's start off with the shade. Mark Ruffalo commented on Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn joining DC Studios. Basically, he said that Marvel should be sweating after losing James Gunn to DC.
Yes.
At Emerald City Comic Con, Marvel's Mark Ruffalo was asked what advice he would give DC to amidst its reboot. But instead of words of wisdom, the Hulk star responded with words of confidence in James Gunn, stating that Marvel should be sweating. I would say hire James Gunn because nobody does it better, and Marvel should be sweating because James Gunn is a really gifted filmmaker, and I think he's going to be amazing for that franchise. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's it. I mean, that's pretty much it.
He's not wrong. I completely agree, and because how many strong voices does the MCU have?
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Russos are gone, Whedon's gone,
They've lost their biggest directors. They've lost their biggest actors. I mean, yes, you could argue that Mark Ruffalo's still around and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
sure.
They have lost Chris Evans. They have lost Robert Downey Jr.
Well, and they can't make Hulk movies, so it's like they can't even lean on their biggest actor.
Right.
Left.
Yeah, and I think the only ones they have left now are, they don't know.
Hemsworth, you know?
Like, Hemsworth is technically out, even though the movie says he'll be back. He didn't know it. He literally said, I didn't know.
Right, but like as far as directors go, like
they got Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. And they don't really even have Tom Holland. Like they
don't own either of them. That's the problem.
Rent. Yeah, that's right. They're renting both their biggest characters. Yeah, but as far as directorial voices are concerned, you know, it's like it's funny how Marvel screwed over Patty Jenkins, so she left, and
Benedict
then made Wonder
Cumberbatch,
Woman,
they got
and
him
then
still,
they still have Benedict Cumberbatch, and they better give him a movie he's happy with because he hasn't enjoyed either of those Doctor Strange movies.
Really?
So he was like, eh. Like, I remember reading somewhere he was like, with Doctor Strange 2, he was like, he didn't really do anything. And I'm like, fair. But, you know, even if he doesn't say that, even if I'm misunderstanding or misremembering how that worked out, it's like, I think that's true. Yeah. I'm feeling like Doctor Strange maybe only has one more movie left in him, which is a real damn shame. But, yeah, there's no strong directorial and writing voices at Marvel right now. There's nobody who's, like, telling... really there's no breakout, you know. It's not like the closest thing we have is like Loki, and I don't know any names associated with like with the depiction and development of Loki that like made Loki shine.
Yeah
Right, like, and that sucks. By the way, Tom Hiddleston, he's another fantastic MCU actor they still have. Oh gee, the villain of Avengers.
I mean, everyone in the chat right now is naming off every actor. Brie Larson, Ryan Coogler. But the problem is, even Ryan Coogler, they're all beholden to what they want to do, or what they refuse to do other projects, or...
No, Ryan Coogler is a good choice. I would have Ryan Coogler direct an Avengers movie.
But he doesn't want to do any of that. He just wants to do, like, that's the issue. Like, what they don't have now is a Robert Downey Jr. who shows up in every movie, a Chris Evans who shows up in every movie. They don't have the Russo brothers who are willing to direct any movie you give them.
Yeah, they're not hungry. Like, they don't, because the Russo brothers were, and they had clear, directive, creative voices that were telling compelling stories and giving us something that we hadn't seen before, or at the very least, something that we always wanted to see. But, like, yeah, no, agreed. Taika Waititi, like, I think he's a little burned out as far as people's enthusiasm. Yeah. Thor 4 was like, what? So that's good, and plus I think is he still making that Star Wars movie? I don't know, but he's looking at other things, you know. Yeah. And
one of our chatters said Anthony Mackie should be starting to pop. I don't know why they haven't done that. Why he has not popped up his cap in everything.
It's frustrating because he's so great and he's so delightful, and I like him in everything. So like, yeah.
What if you had just had him and Winter Soldier just show up in everything? That'd be great.
I'm fine with that. I'm very fine with that. I mean, like, well, you know, make that Captain America 4. Let's go. Yeah, but they need some directors. They need some directors that are exciting and good and
I think that's one thing people like to like. It's the popular thing right now to just crap all over Phase 4.
Yes,
but I think people also are forgetting it's the issue, honestly, that I feel DC has run into. DC Comics, not the movies. Yeah. DC Comics and Marvel Comics Comics in general. Everyone wants to be like, oh, they're not telling good stories, and they aren't. A lot of times they aren't. And you know why?
Yeah.
All the people who wrote the good stuff left. They weren't getting paid well enough, or they found other things. They all left. The editorial got swapped out. The writers got swapped out. New stories are being told, and they're not in the voice that you are used to hearing, which is why they're deemed as bad stories. The same thing is happening with Marvel from Phase 3 to Phase 4. We lost Chris Evans. We lost Robert Downey Jr. We never really had Tom Holland. We lost the Russo brothers. Like, everything that made the MCU what it is isn't around anymore, other than Feige trying to direct the remnants around. And he's not letting Anthony Mackie or Benedict Cumberbatch really step up into that I'm the cameo guy role that, like, Robert Downey Jr. had.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
No, I think at this point, if Marvel wants to get, like, really exciting again, I have a pitch for them. Instead of getting, like, the next big actor, because that's what they seem to do, right? They're always really excited about getting, like, oh, ladies and gentlemen, like, the biggest actor of all time is going to be, like, Jack Nicholson is going to be, you know what I mean? Like, he's not, because he's, like, in a weird place. But, like, you know, the biggest actors ever are in these movies.
Yeah.
Get the biggest directors. Like, seriously, like, start stunt directing these movies. Like, just take a meeting with Steven Spielberg and go, here are all the characters we have. What would you like to take? You know, like, call Richard Linklater and David Fincher and, like, you know, like, try to like, win back Edgar Wright and just go, like, you get one movie, you know, one movie, and we'll give you more creative freedom than we did before, you know, but, like, and go for it, you know, like, just go for it. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Our
Like, to
chat
see
brought
that.
up Wong. I forgot Wong is the linchpin between all the movies right now.
He is. He's the Coulson. He's the Captain America. Like, he's in everything. Yes,
everybody else you guys are naming,
everything.
they've only been in cameos, like, in their own franchise. John Cheadle was in Iron Man 1 and 2 and barely in 3.
Yeah, and he was also in he was in, like, one scene which he was nominated for an Emmy for, which I think was a mistake, for Winter Soldier.
Right, but
show.
what I'm saying is, like, they're not the big name. They're big name actors.
Yes.
Simu Liu, like,
Yeah,
I'm
Simu
sorry,
Liu.
I loved Shang-Chi, I really did, but it did not hit the numbers it needed to make him the guy.
No, but he could be, like, you could put him in more things. He could show up in more stuff.
He
like,
could, but he's still a new face. You know what I mean?
He's a new face.
Yeah.
And they still have Sam Jackson, who's going to be in the Secret Invasion show. Which
I'm sorry,
this
but
year.
Sam Jackson as Nick Cage now just looks like decrepit. All right, guys, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going. I mean, he moves like an old man because Sam Jackson is an old man.
Yeah, exactly. But, I think, but that's my pitch. It's just, like, get some crazy great directors, like, big, like, stupid director, where it's like...
Well, James Gunn is the last one they had.
Yeah.
And instead of giving him a bunch of money to stay at Marvel, they're like, have fun at DC. And he's like, so I get all of DC.
They fired him, and then he went to DC.
Yeah,
and then they let
true.
him finish his other movie. Like, that was, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's not a lot of... But look... The reason why I'm also suggesting, like, bigger directors is because, like, the smaller directors, like, that's what they've already been doing that. Like, they're already doing that with, like, everything, where they go, oh, get Rian Johnson to do an entire Star Wars trilogy, or get so-and-so to do this new version of our show, and get these young, hot people to, like, make Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight and, you know, WandaVision and stuff. It's like, you know, regardless of how you may have felt about the quality of Doctor Strange 2, everybody was talking about Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange 2, and they all stopped talking about how the director of Doctor Strange 2 quit the movie, and Sam Raimi was a replacement. You know what I mean? Like, that's the excitement, and people know these names, especially people who care about the kind of stuff. People who go see them don't care. You know, most people are just like, I'm just seeing the new Marvel movie. I don't know the names of these people, but everybody else is like, ooh. Who's going to make it? Who's going to do this thing? If that's what they want people talking about. Anyway, yeah.
That's the topic there, and I kind of agree. It's going to be. That's why I'm really interested to see what's going to happen as DC picks up steam with James Gunn, and we're in Phase 5, and they're trying to fix Marvel. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between these two juggernauts.
It'll be great to see if that actually, like, forces them to start to innovate and perform quality control, where they're like, oh my God, we're actually getting competed with.
Yeah, well, they haven't been. That's the fact of the matter. Even if you want to say Justice League did the numbers to compete, it was like 2017.
Yeah.
They haven't had anything like that since that. I think, because Wonder Woman 1 was before that or after?
Before that.
Before
No.
Justice League? They came out
Yeah,
after.
before Justice League. Yeah, no.
But they countered that with Captain Marvel, which also broke $1 billion. So it's like, whatever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and
All right.
Justice League never did.
Next up on the list, though, we do have some more announcements that came out. Everything announced at X-Men 30th Uncanny Virtual Event. We're basically getting, this one is exciting for me. They're bringing back the Uncanny Avengers,
Yes.
which was like the merger of, I don't see an Inhuman this time, because at the time it was an Inhuman, a mutant, and a regular superhero.
And a regular superhero, yeah. No,
And now it just looks like mutants and Cap.
we're fine with it. No one's going to complain. Yeah, we're all
It's literally, I think that's Cyclops. Who is that on that cover there? It's got Rogue, awesome, a big, loving that pick. Quicksilver, loving that pick. Deadpool, come on, he's a mutant again apparently. Psylocke, Captain America, and I have no idea who this other one is, but they look cool. The design's like so 90s edgy.
I know, yeah.
I'm looking for the lister. There it is. Penance. Nope, that didn't
Thank
help
you.
me. That didn't help me at all.
Yeah. And is that Captain Krakoa? Is that the idea? Is that like they're going to have Cyclops play Captain Krakoa in this? That's fun.
That's what it looks like, yeah. But he's not listed. It's just Captain America, Rogue, Deadpool, Quicksilver, Psylocke, and Penance. So
Okay.
the Captain Krakoa thing was a fun like 2-issue spread. I liked that.
Yeah, it was. That was great.
You died. Now we need to give you a new name, but I don't want a new name. I'm Cyclops.
Yeah. Well, shut up. You're a new character now. For a minute.
This one's weird. Negasonic Teenage Warhead is getting her own book on their digital app.
Good. I mean, she was a fun character in Deadpool. I didn't really care about her in the comic books, but
Well, it's like the
I
new
really
design
liked
is straight out of Deadpool. The shaved down head, the black clothes. So.
her. Smart. Just do it. Like, good idea.
They're
Also,
coming-
does that mean that she's going to be in Deadpool 3? I don't know.
I assume she is.
I hope so.
Apparently, we're getting a new Marvel's Legends line featuring Gambit, Banshee, and Psylocke in their X-Men uniforms.
Okay, that's cool.
Which I didn't know they had. I didn't know they. I didn't know
they
they
did.
I
For
didn't
like
know
a
they were
minute.
officially.
I remember Gambit wearing it and being like, "No, don't do that. Get your coat."
The unofficial X-Men is a 6-part story going to their digital app as well, which apparently is going to spotlight Jubilee. Why do they suddenly want to make us care about Jubilee again?
I mean, Jubilee is because millennials are in charge of Marvel and they grew up with Jubilee.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Same reason why Ben Reilly had 3 series.
Even though they don't want to do anything with them. They've also announced the Summer of Symbiotes with the most scantily clad 90s Marvel thing I've ever seen in the last 10 years.
That cover is an
Bikinis.
homage. That is an homage to a classic Jim Lee pinup of the X-Men poolside. And it is now a recreation of that, of characters with symbiotes on them. I'm like, Summer of Symbiotes, really? All right. More symbiotes?
I mean,
Still doing this?
Well, symbiotes are popular, so there's no way around that.
I guess that's true.
But there's not this many women as symbiotes in the universe.
No, but there were a lot of women on that original pinup that they had. So, yeah.
So I'm interested in that because of the symbiotes, and I've got to post this image up somewhere on my channel just to get people to click it. So
Totally.
But this one's going to be a crossover for Venom, featuring Venom Carnage, Extreme Venomverse, Red Goblin, Carnage Reigns, Cult of Carnage, Edge of Venomverse Infinity comic. So I guess they're going to cross it over with their app.
Okay, that's smart. They really it's smart.
That actually isn't. I hate it, but it's a
Right.
great idea marketing wise.
Yes, it is because they really want people on their app. I get
Yeah.
it. Both DC and Marvel are really excited about their apps.
Well, no, DC just moved over to Webtoons, and they're doing a great job over there.
Yes, no, but DC still has DC Universe Infinite. They're still trying to get that app.
So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are the 2 biggest announcements that I could find that have come out of the Emerald City stuff.
Yeah, as far as actually confirmed, like this is an announcement. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't see. I don't really watch for stuff from WonderCon, but I guess I should.
The symbiote. Well, I was watching the emails because you and I get the emails of the promo art.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
what
don't
a lot
think
of
I
it came
got
out
any
of.
from Marvel this year.
Have you read Red Goblin?
No.
It's not as bad as the assumption that it would be.
Okay.
Also, I'm actually really shocked. Hollow's Eve is a really good book.
That's insane.
I started reading that like, all right, I'll open this up, probably get 3 pages in it. I kept going. It's really good. Like,
Oh wow.
I recommend it.
Wow. Because I hate that character.
I was not a fan either. I'm like, I'm Frankenstein. Like, what the
So dumb.
fudge is this? Yeah, I don't.
It's horrible.
But no, the story's really good because it's now she has the masks and doesn't know what to do now, and she's trying to find her way. But like immediately things go south because she turns into a werewolf, bites a guy, which makes him into a werewolf. And she's like, I didn't know I was an actual werewolf. Like,
Right? Well, what are you doing biting people, lady?
Yeah, it's actually really good, though. I would recommend it.
Cool. Okay.
All right, so now let's go to our main topic, because still not that much stuff going around, but yeah, because everything else is just, this was what happened in comics this week. And a new season of Marvel Snap is starting, Sal. Maybe we should start playing that.
Oh,
No?
boy.
Okay.
No. Still not going to play it.
Still not
Sorry.
going to play it. All right, so the question I wanted to bring to you today for our comic book discussion is, as someone who's currently reading Wolverine,
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot of awesome stuff happening in Wolverine and X-Force. Deadpool's back with Wolverine. We have the Evil Beast stuff, which is just why, but it's still happening.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff happening that you just don't hear about.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, do you feel that ever since the death of Wolverine and then leaving him dead, because everyone's like, kill the superheroes, kill the superheroes.
Yeah.
I feel like it ruined the gravy train that was Wolverine. What do you think?
I mean, I think that if they had decided to kill Wolverine in like 2005, they would have gotten like a lot of pushback from editorial. I think they would have been like, absolutely not. You can ruin him. You can like drag him through the mud. You can make him a murderer, but don't kill him off. He makes too much money. But by the time that Death of Wolverine came around, they were like, we got other Wolverine. We got backups. Like, we're okay. Like, we can kill Wolverine. And I think that that book sold, but I don't remember it being very exciting. Like, I was excited by it. I loved the
I thought
art.
the story was great. Yeah,
I thought it was too. I loved it. But I wonder if the fact that there wasn't a lot of hype about that book when it came out, combined with the amount of time that they left Wolverine dead,
I think that was the
contributed to
biggest
that.
thing.
Yeah,
The nature
right?
of comics is very circular. I know we all want to say we wish we could go to the full ever-changing stuff. It should be like manga with one story and it ends.
Right.
It's never going to happen. It isn't.
No.
And
Not
the
in
fact
this
that they
universe.
left, the fact that they left Wolverine dead for 3 years. I think it was 3 years, wasn't it?
At least 3 years.
It's a crazy amount of time.
Yeah, and even the return of Wolverine, it wasn't a great series. And
Because
the
it made
hot-
no sense. It didn't
made
make
no
any sense even when it resolved.
yeah, and the hot claws thing, like they thought that was like a good gimmick. Like it was insulting for them to think that was exciting and cool. And
Right.
Overall, I think you're right. I think like they deflated the excitement for Wolverine. What's worse is they normalized the idea that you could skip Wolverine. Like Wolverine used to be essential. He used to be a fan favorite character that everybody wanted to like see in their books and back, and he's in every X-Men movie. Like he's got to be there. Like, if you're doing something, Wolverine needs to have a say.
Kind of like Spider-Man. Even in the events he's not a part of, he's just, hey guys, I happen to be swinging by.
Right. If they think of it, like, they put him in there. He's got to be in there because he's the Mickey Mouse. But like Wolverine, second, like right up there with Spider-Man as far as like most recognizable, most fan favorite, most beloved. And ironically, he's also like, he's loved for being a vicious murderer and a psycho and for screaming his head off all the time. But no, they normalized his absence. They made it so that you would go, okay, Wolverine's gone. I guess I'll move on. Like, I guess I'll stop. It's actually they did the thing that they're always worried about, where it's like, no, we can't end this issue on without a cliffhanger. Otherwise, people will see it as an opportunity to leave.
Yeah.
They made Wolverine scarce, and people went, oh, well then I guess I'm done.
Do you think that it helped or hurt that they brought in Old Man Logan during that period?
It didn't help because it made him superfluous. Now Wolverine is not essential. He's not the only character. If you want Wolverine, you got the old one, you got the girl one, you got the clone of the girl one, which is also a girl. Like, you got a couple, and even then, like, there's, you got his son from the Ultimate Universe, which they tried to do for a minute. Like, he was around in the main universe for
that was
hot
funny
second.
when he showed up, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, and then poof, nobody cared. But yeah, no, I mean, like the Old Man Logan thing, I don't think that helped, but it wasn't a bad series. It's just that I don't think it contributed to the point. It certainly contributed to the idea of Wolverine not being important and him being superfluous. Like, oh, well, if we ever need Wolverine, we have backup Wolverines. Oh, well, that's not. Then I don't need to buy that. Like, then I don't need that. It's why I think, fandom for Spider-Man has become such a shake-up, is because they were like, I think Spider-Verse broke Spider-Man, despite the fact that Amazing Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, is one of the top selling titles at Marvel. So regardless of what anybody says about the quality of that book, everybody loves it.
Oh yeah.
So, but Spider-Verse, I think, contributed to the superfluousness of Spider-Man, where it's like, well, now, if you like Spider-Man for any variety of reasons, you got to read that book. But now it's like, well, I don't like Spider-Man if he isn't a murderer. Well, then you got Superior Spider-Man. I don't like Spider-Man if he isn't a girl. Well, then I got Spider-Gwen for that.
I mean, you're right. We have a multitude
Spider-Man.
of options now for Spider-Man, just like we kind of did with Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's such a weird situation the way they handled Wolverine, because the reason I thought about this is I'm really digging the Wolverine book. I'm really digging the X-Force book, and I don't like what they're doing with Beast, because I feel like they've been building up to him becoming Dark Beast for like 15 years, and we just haven't had happy-go-lucky, plucky Beast in forever.
Yep.
But I feel like this story should be more reflected across Krakoa and everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. When it almost feels like this should be the event happening right now, and instead we have an alternate future called Sins of Sinister that I'm not enjoying.
I love that series, and it's fantastic. But
I just don't like it because it feels so. And we could talk about Sins of Sinister. I like what's happening in the core books.
That is the book.
But what I'm saying is, I don't like the fact that it's just another alternate future that's gone to shit for the X-Men.
That's it. That's what it is. That's what the whole thing is.
I feel like the big thing should be Beast has gone evil. Rally the X-Men. What the? He just made a mecha Krakoa.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll do that. Like I hope they do that. But like we had 10 Lives and 10 Deaths as Wolverine, and that sucked.
And it didn't sell. It was like a Wolverine-centric event that they were hyping up.
Well, and it wasn't supposed to be. It was clearly not supposed to be an event, and Marvel was like, we need something. Make it an event. And that also didn't help. That like we haven't had a Wolverine event in forever, if ever, and it was balls, or at least 50% of it was balls. Because, like, I will say, and it's funny actually. If whoever you ask, some people liked the Moira stuff, and some people liked the time travel stuff.
I actually liked both. My issue with it is they had no reason to be intertwined.
No,
that's what I think ruined it.
But they coalesced at the end, like, but it wasn't.
It felt so haphazardly put together because the whole excuse was, well, he's time traveling. That's why he's not here. So here's the other Wolverines on this other adventure, and you could have given any reason for Wolverine to be out of check for the beginning of whichever one that was, the mecha Wolverine thing.
It wasn't for me, but I think that didn't help. It certainly didn't do what they wanted it to do. I think they were like, yes, Wolverine, he's back with an event, 2 stories in one. No, it doesn't work that way. And they're in a weird place where I think we can see behind the curtain. We've seen that like Wolverine is expendable. We don't need Wolverine anymore.
It also doesn't help that he's not on any primary team other than X-Force. And even on X-Force, the last 10 issues, he's been gone because Dark Beast buried him.
Right. Yeah. He's been a character in the Beast stuff. That's it. And Wolverine didn't really factor into Hickman's plans. You saw what Hickman thought of Wolverine in Powers and House of X. Like those were the books where you're like, oh, he lives forever and he kills things. That's what he does. That's who he is. Like, and then Hickman did that Marvel Infinity book about him that like nobody read. It was like he hasn't been important, and it ain't the 90s anymore, and it's not cool to read Wolverine. Like Wolverine itself it's a fine series, but it's not I don't think it's as exciting as it should be, and I don't think it's getting people's attention as it should be because it is part of Krakoa, because it is intrinsically connected to it. I think the people who love Krakoa would not love Larry Hama's Wolverine. And I think the people who love Larry Hama's or any period of Wolverine that made him popular, like Wolverine drawn by Jim Lee. I think if you like Wolverine drawn by Jim Lee, you're probably not a big fan of the Krakoa stuff. And
the Ben Percy stuff feels like it should entirely be in the because he made the FBI guy. I forget his name right now, but that was like the primary character, and he started attaching more with Maverick. Maverick's a part of things going on. He made a whole new roster for Wolverine. Yeah, which I did notice. I was like, oh, we have a whole new thing going on here. You're not pulling.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not on board for that, then you're not gonna enjoy it. And
Jeff Bannister, that's the guy's name.
It was such a smart idea, like when Bendis made the New Avengers, to put Wolverine on the New Avengers, because it was like, oh my God, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, Captain America, like this is awesome. But now, like, if you put Wolverine on like the Uncanny Avengers, I don't think you'd see a blip in sales.
No. I mean, he's not even on the current Avengers run, and they've got a Ghost Rider. Like, they've got like every option. They got She-Hulk, Ghost Rider, they got a Starbrand, and no Wolverine. And there's like 5 options if you want to put a Wolverine on the Avengers right
It's true. You could elevate Gabby, you could use Laura, you could use old Laura, you could use Wolverine. Like hell, you could resurrect Old Man Logan. Like but like we said, like there's no shortage of Wolverines. And when there's no shortage of Wolverines, I think that the excitement, enthusiasm, and fan favoriteness of Wolverine becomes diminished. It's the same way it's like, when Marvel basically explicitly said, we don't believe in Superior Spider-Man. Like
that one still blows my mind.
Like when they lost an entire audience.
Yeah.
And they lost it to nothing. It's not like there's another book that was like it that they could go to. It wasn't like Marvel directed them in another direction. They just said, we don't want your business. It's over. And Wolverine is, I think, a similar situation where it's like, we're not thinking about Wolverine. Like 30 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, X-Men was like X-Men and Wolverine. Like, you might as well have had an editor for Wolverine. Like a separate editor just for Wolverine.
I mean, I still remember that Goof comic. How many times it showed his weekly events of going into every other team book.
Exactly.
Like, he was in everything.
Yeah. I think that Wolverine is a character that has the potential for that, but they need it to be cool. It needs to be dumb and cool. At this point, like, you can make it can be smart and highbrow, but like you need to poach audiences back by being like, because what did they do? I mean, during the Ben Percy run, like it hasn't been like that. Like the coolest thing he did recently was like go to hell, and fight that guy with the swords, which is cool, but like a little esoteric, a little heady. It's not like Wolverine, and remember that awesome cover of Wolverine fighting Omega Red? That was like a Kubert drew it, but they didn't. And then it was a lie. Like that's what I like. People want.
Well, yeah,
Wolverine.
Omega Red's like half good guy right now.
I know. Like, no, they need to be like Wolverine is Wolverine is set on fire and he's in the middle of the Arctic and he's like, and then this thing comes out of the ground and then he cuts it and he's like, why am I here? Like maybe it's just some kind of Wolverine needs a mystery and he needs to be cool and he needs to murder people. Like that needs to be that needs to get people excited about Wolverine again. They need to do something to get people excited about Wolverine. And I tell you this, it ain't going to be an event. It's going to be a number 1. It's going to be a Wolverine solo series, and it's going to be with a writer who like really wants to tell that kind of Wolverine story. Because otherwise, the other problem is the audience doesn't have their ear to the ground to listen for it. Like they don't.
Oh yeah, marketing's still terrible. I mean, we're still in that mode.
If Wolverine did reboot the book, not the character, but if they reset Wolverine. Ben Percy left the book, or he just was like, I'm done with the Beast stuff. Now I'm doing this, and it's just Wolverine kicking ass, taking names. It wouldn't sell very well because nobody would know. At this point, they're like, at this point, you've had 10 years of Wolverine being not important.
Well, I was gonna bring up 2014 is when he officially died. This is the dates I was pulling up.
That was 9 years ago.
That was also the last official appearance of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Ooh.
2014 was Days of Future Past. He showed up as an uncredited cameo in Apocalypse. And then we had Logan, which was Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that Wolverine anymore.
No, it's true.
So do you think that they're going to do a big Wolverine push when he gets back in the role for Deadpool 3?
I mean, I would. If I were Marvel, I'd be like all about it. But like, I wonder if it's too little too late. I certainly wouldn't rely on Hollywood to be the catalyst to bring Wolverine fans back. But maybe that's because I'm like, I don't think that Hollywood and comic books cross over as like seamlessly as everyone else seems to think.
Oh, we know they don't. We know for a fact. Even the studios have said they don't cross over as seamlessly as you guys all seem to think they do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't have some kind of crossover with it.
Right? Like, hey, somebody mentioned the game. When that game drops, there better be an awesome Wolverine book. And not a tie-in book that's in the same continuity as the game. No, just an awesome Wolverine series with hot art and not hot claws.
I was going to say, but not hot claws, hot art.
Cool. Yeah, hot art, cool claws, and a dope story, where he's just Wolverine again. But, it's tough because, like, Wolverine's also, he's so integral to the X-Men, and the X-Men are in such a very specific place. Like, Wolverine can't be, like, Wolverine needs to be unhappy and wearing, like, flannel and riding a motorcycle. But like,
So do you think that Ben Percy's run isn't working because he's happy?
yeah, I think that's why people don't like it, because he's happy. How can he be stoic and angry on a motorcycle in flannel when he's banging Cyclops and Jean Grey on an island of forever?
And convincing people this is the greatest life ever, come with me to Krakoa.
I don't I mean,
Like, that's been his whole back and forth with Maverick. Maverick's like, no, come back and be old Wolverine. And he's like, nah, man, I got an island now.
Yeah, why would I do that? I got a suite on the moon.
That's where he keeps the sword. I forgot about that. He had to go chase the sword down.
Yeah, you got to get the sword back. Yeah, that was cool. Swords are cool.
Yeah.
Wolverine has 6 of them on his hands, but still.
It's such a weird situation because it's quite obviously they've been trying again. Like, they've been making an attempt.
Yes, but like, I don't think it's an earnest attempt. I think they're letting creators, I think they're like letting Ben Percy do whatever he wants. And I think the last issue Wolverine sold very well. So I hope it's a good indication, but it certainly isn't an indication that you're going to get.
Nothing even crazy happened in the last one. It's in the middle of the story.
I know, but we did get a cool indication as to the Beast conflict, and that's pretty exciting.
Right, which should be the crossover. Like, that should be.
That's it. But this is the cross. Like, that's the book.
No, we're doing Sins of Sinister. This should be like, at this point, the X-Men are involved, X-Force, the Marauders. Everyone's like, oh my God, Beast has 7 evil beasts. Like,
yeah,
let's
but
go.
Marauders is a bad book right now, and
I'm just saying they all should be there now. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know.
like,
Maybe
I think
it'll
that's
all
my problem
coalesce.
with Sins of Sinister. Between X-Force and Wolverine, there's this great plot happening with Beast. Like, love or hate the situation with what they're doing to Beast.
Yes, it's
This
still
whole-
it's compelling.
Yeah, it's like 30 issues of Beast just getting worse and worse and worse.
Then read that. I mean, like, it's there. They're not doing anything wrong. It's great. Enjoy it. Be happy that Marvel isn't complicating it. Be happy that Marvel
imagine
isn't
this
making it
complication.
worse.
He made Mecha Krakoa, takes it out, fights the entire X-Men. They all fail. The entire Marvel universe versus Beast.
Yeah.
Like, that could be epic as hell.
I agree with that. Maybe we're
Because
heading towards something like that.
everyone, every superhero is going to be like, we could fix Beast. We're going to convert him. And he'll decimate them all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Because
true.
this Beast has no remorse. But you mean to tell me Cap's going to show up and punch him? No, he's going to be like, Hank, let's chat. Boom, down. He's dead.
Yeah. Well, I think they're indicating. I think you're going to see a battle of beasts pretty soon.
Oh, God. Oh, and we already have multiple Wolverines running around. As the chat also brought up, when you were mentioning all the clones, now Laura has 2. There's
Yes.
old Laura and young Laura.
I know, and they're cool. I like them a lot. I'm okay with that.
But it's just all weird. All right.
I agree.
Let's end this episode of Absolute Comics. Let us know what you think about all the news we announced today and what we talked about with Wolverine. My name is Benny. That is Sal. We get together it's supposed to be Tuesdays, and we will be getting back to that once things start getting a lot more amped up. But right now, we are filming these on Mondays with all of the other Absolutely stuff. So you can catch it easily on Mondays and Thursdays at about 12 p.m. Eastern. The Thursday day and time is Tuesday at 5 p.m. When we come back to that time, we will fully be back to that time. So we're just not there yet. So, all right, guys, we'll see you in a bit.